Welcome to classic Tuesday night football halftime scope. CeeDee Lamb through his hands. It went through his hands, and that is why the Dallas Cowboys find themselves with a 7-point deficit instead of a tie ball game. An extremely bizarre half of football. RIP and peace to anyone that had Dallas first quarter that looked so good until it didn't, and then almost again, and then it didn't. RIP to anyone who had no ints for Lamar Jackson. That was fluky. Two ints on the first. Are we
doing ints now? Are we calling them ints?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I'm done.
I guess here are my major. Do you want to do takeaways? You want to let people matriculate into the Periscope broadcast?
Oh, we can do some. We're getting there.
Matriculate in.
The takeaway is that maybe Andy Dalton isn't horrible if he's not on his ass.
Oh, that's by far the number one takeaway. There are two tying takeaways. That was a great one, though.
With Calais Campbell and Williams back, I thought, it's going to be tough for Dallas to run, but also, having all the pieces of your D-line for the most part, you'd think they could get some semblance of pass rush, but I don't understand. I don't want to say like Dallas's offensive line is playing well because that feels weird, but maybe eventually, just they haven't had someone injured for a while. It's starting to get a little bit of cohesion there. I'm not sure. They're playing well, though. The offensive line is playing okay, and Dallas is able to throw the ball a little. And then Dallas's defense is just hilarious.
That was tied for the other takeaway.
That's the obvious one.
They're poorly schemed. They're missing talented players at all three levels, and the fact that they were not getting, that they were just gaping holes, making the Ravens running attack look like the 2019 Ravens running attack. Was pretty obvious. We see some second half lines populating. Baltimore Ravens are -3.5 points. So they bumped it up a little bit because they were generally hanging around 10 for a lot of that end of that half. Now they want you to lay the hook. The total of 24 opened with relatively even juice, and under 24 got hammered on the open. But now there's buyback coming on the over 24. It's back to -101. I saw it as low as +109.
Yeah, what is the case for under? As Dallas will be in a negative game script. And the thing is, too, you say when you have a team leading and you say, they're just going to run the ball, salt it away, and use clock. Like, if that's the case for Baltimore, they might score faster, like if they run the ball. That's what's working. That's been super effective. Just gaping holes. Like if you're worried about Baltimore running the ball and not slowing the game down, I'm not sure. So I agree with you 100%.
I don't think that's an actionable angle at all. Especially because the Baltimore slows the game down when they go to that short passing attack, which is just doesn't have a whole lot of hope because as bad as Dallas is at tackling the run. They're tackling the short pass very well. I think maybe it's just that you don't have blockers, set up in good position, and the wide receivers are too small for to really make a meaningful difference in the in the screen game, so to speak. Plus, it looks predictable. You can tell every time it's coming. I think Baltimore is a lot more dangerous when they're attacking on the ground. And that matches up well with what Dallas can't stop. So I think Baltimore gets theirs in this half. I really don't see anything stopping them. I think they're going to get 14 points here pretty comfortably. The question is, does Andy Dalton pee down his leg, or does he continue to play with testicular fortitude? So I guess the key question is there an adjustment that Baltimore can make defensively to get more pressure? Because that is what is lacking from what I typically think of this Baltimore defense. Not a lot of aggressiveness, not a lot of pressure. They're giving Andy Dalton plenty of time, and the coverage, as good as they are at covering and as good as their cover corners are, you don't have Jimmy Smith out there. Marcus Peters may be banged up. And there are three very, very dangerous wide receivers for the Cowboys who, if you give Andy Dalton time, he can make plays to those guys. So do you think there's an adjustment that Wink Martindale can
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
bring to the table?
He does like some fun blitzes, and I don't know, maybe we'll see a little more of that in the second half. I guess if I'm not getting pressure on him with just I guess I didn't pay attention to how often they blitzed. I'm not sure I saw a ton of it, but maybe some aggressive blitzing to get Andy a little rattled. Andy's rattled right now after Northern Iowa or Northern Illinois in overtime, but getting Andy Dalton rattled to keep some of those receivers from just it's one of those things. Yeah, you can cover, you can have good coverage, but if you can only cover for so long, if the pass rush is not getting home, things like this will continue to happen. So I don't know what you can do if you're on the other side. Like, people are making fun of Nolan. Yeah, I'm not sure what Nolan can do. He's you're working with what you're working with. I'm not sure if you can do anything about a pass rush that's been bad for the better part of a year. So this is true. It's Wink Martindale did host a game show.
He did. Can you name his game shows? I was making a joke, but can you name his game shows?
Was it Let's Make a Deal or $25,000 Pyramid?
Oh, I know him from High Rollers and Tic Tac Dough.
Oh, Card Sharks.
Card Sharks, yeah.
Card Sharks was maybe one.
Was he in Card Sharks? Actually, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Hollywood Squares. Well, Hollywood we need to pick a bet here.
So I think we want the over.
Leaning towards the over.
I think we want the over. I think I don't think we're going to get our 23.5, which is kind of what I was holding out hope for. I was seeing that that there's a battle going on between the under players and the over players. Somebody's trying to knock this down to 23.5, which is a solid overplay. They're just not giving it to us. They're sticking with 24. Over 24 is now juiced minus 103. Maybe if we shop around, can we find a 23.5? What kind of price can you find a 23.5?
I'm not really seeing anything like that. I was wondering about possibly just Baltimore. Like, if you're saying Baltimore gets their 14, and we're not sure if Dallas scores, aren't we just saying Baltimore by 3.5 then?
Well, I think Dallas is likely to score. And I think Baltimore can get more than 14. I don't know. I guess Baltimore gets the ball first. I like this. I like the plays that they got in the playbook tonight. They got the good plays in the playbook, which I love. They're rotating the backs pretty effectively. The Baltimore team total over 14 is plus 105. Yeah, let's play that. Let's circle that one.
All right.
Over 14 plus 105. Let's get it.
Another team total.
Defense, I don't think there's a Dallas defense adjustment to be made that effectively stops what Baltimore is doing.
I'm shopping there. There's no 13.5, so shit just ain't happening for me. Getting a cheaper number. It looks like it's pretty 14. That's probably the best price in the market.
I'll tell you what else I like about this play. You know what I like? Baltimore, if they can get on the board first, even if it's only a field goal, you're going to have some short fields potentially because Dallas is going to be forced to go for it down the stretch. If they could be in their own territory and all of a sudden Mike McCarthy decides, okay, now I'll go for it. And there's always a potential of an Andy Dalton defensive assisted score or 2 or 3 or 4. So who knows?
DK 13.5 is probably the not overtime, like regulation only. But again, do you think this game goes to overtime?
No, I don't.
Not terribly worried.
The other thing that I could see, we haven't seen we haven't seen the typical Zeke Elliott fumble yet. He's averaging. I think he's averaging 1 per game. We haven't seen it yet.
I forgot about that. We haven't just gotten and we haven't gotten any Duvernay yet. We had some Duvernay props, and he's just not seeing the ball. Do you want to say your piece about Hollywood Brown?
Well, he stinks. I don't think he's an NFL wide receiver 1. And the fact that you have the brain trust there in Baltimore, they didn't try to upgrade the other wide receiver positions this year. You know who would have looked real good in purple? Stephon Diggs. Who would have looked. This goes overtime.
This goes overtime. I deserve to lose. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs would have looked good. DeAndre Hopkins would have looked good. I would have given up a second rounder for DeAndre Hopkins to get him into Baltimore. Even Antonio Brown. There were some rumors that he was flirting with the Ravens. That wouldn't have been a bad call. Des Bryant would have been a nice. Why isn't Des Bryant out there?
Should we
Did I
talk
miss
about
something?
that? That was weird,
I don't
right?
know, man.
Like I
I
don't
don't
want
have a
to
strong
I don't want to
opinion.
get into it because they're just making it up as they go. And like,
Yeah, that's pretty clearly that's the policy.
in my head, I'm like, there's no way they can play this game. And then for a second, I'm like, what did I just say? They're going to play this game. They play these games no matter what. They're not going to have week 18. Shit's happening. So yeah,
Yes.
I mean, there's no chance he didn't like have in contact with any players on one of the teams. It's silly, the charade, but I don't care. Play the game.
It is a charade. We all know this.
Yeah, I mean we're so past. So past it doesn't matter. It's
yeah, and I mean it's pretty ridiculous that they. I mean, I guess if I want to be critical of anything, just don't lie to us. Like, why are you like blatantly lying to us that he had no close contacts when we have video and photo of him like greeting and hugging the Cowboys players and coaches that he knew when he was a Cowboy? Like, that was pretty blatant. A lot of people saw it, and now you try to walk that back like, oh no. We did all the contact tracing. I mean, it's not setting a great example for how we're handling this pandemic, I guess. But it is pretty indicative of the United States as a whole.
Contact tracing is that piece of paper they give the announcers before the game that lists the roster of the Ravens. Like, here it is. Des caught it. Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
It's hilarious that they just say, well,
yeah, this is notable.
Rules,
That's a good point. That was a pretty clear defensive hold. I don't think they were going to give him spot of the foul on that because it was before the ball was released, but it should have at least given them a first down and 5 yards. And in fact, there's probably going to be a makeup call at some point, right?
I think so.
I guess, do you have an opinion on this? Is it me and my gambling brain and drinking too much brown liquor that I'm thinking this, but the officiating has been especially bad the last 2-3 weeks? Am I crazy? Is this conspiracy?
It might be my brain in the same spot as yours with the brown liquors too, but like I feel like you're right. Like there's been some really bad calls. The non-call on the intentional grounding that landed like 5 yards in front of the line judge.
I'll never forget that one. That was the worst call I've seen in 2 or 3 years.
Some of the ball placement they're doing after spotting the ball, it's been rough.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of crews that have clear tendencies where they're calling holding more often. They're calling.
Yeah, not a lot of consistency from crew to crew either, is there?
No, not the two main problems: the inconsistency from crew to crew, and the inconsistency within game. It has not been obvious that anyone knows what they're doing as far as refereeing goes, and I'm surprised because really going back in time, the first week of the season, it was like a breath of fresh air that the reffing was just not a factor.
Kind of enjoying that.
I've seen football where reffing is not a factor, and you can't now put that genie back in the bottle. Like, sorry, I'm not interested in football that's heavily officiated anymore.
You did overtime without me. Look at that, you nailed it.
I was a little premature on the overtime because there was a flub on the kickoff where they can't get Zerline can't get the ball to stay in place, so they haven't actually kicked off yet.
They had to hold it.
Yeah. Any questions for the folks? I guess.
How about Tucker? Tucker made that field goal, right?
Yeah. Okay. He did. It looked like he made it to me. I thought so, and they never replayed it. Again, a very suspect call. And by the way, like, is it killing us in the NFL not to just raise the goalpost an extra 5 feet? Like,
why don't they make the whole goalpost out of the black box?
Why don't they make the whole goalpost out of the black box? Exactly. Then we would know, and we wouldn't be relying on the refs standing under the goalposts. Matt brings up a point. The game is a drop and easy 2 field goals from me in 2020. That's true. There was also some fluky short fields because of the huge kick return and because of the tipped ball interception that really helped neutralize. They put extra points on the board, I guess. So that cuts both ways, I think. Also,
you talking going to the reffing and the field position too. Like that was that was a course collar for sure on that long return. I was surprised like nobody got.
Yes.
I'm sure nobody got like way excited about it. Oh, look at this.
Put a laser pointer.
A laser. Oh, and just like those when there's like a really new store in town and they get the spotlights they're shooting around, shoot those straight up.
So do you even know the rule? Because honestly, the way that kick looked like it sailed directly over the post. So if the post was the full, if the post was, 100 feet long, it would have probably doinked in, out, or back into the field of play. We would know. Do you know what the rule is? The entirety of the ball have to be inside the post as the guy stands up and looks at it if it goes over?
Could you make it bounce off the laser?
Probably not.
If it hits the laser,
if it sliced the ball, if it cut the ball, and at least
that's what I'm saying.
The ball had to be on the inside.
Yes, not just like a light laser, like a legitimate laser from science fiction that shoots it in half.
Yeah, like Austin Powers sharks with lasers on their heads.
Lasers too. Yeah, the laser show. I had a
blasting. Oh man, that pass by Lamar. Woof.
He got one to Devernay though, where we are getting closer to his catch prop. I think he has one now.
Bad pass. That guy was wide freaking open. That was an easy conversion. Terrible throw. God damn. Do you want to tell me why my Ravens future was a bad play at 18-1 to win the AFC?
Oh, I thought that was a Super Bowl play.
No. 18-1 to win the AFC.
That's not a terrible number, I guess. I don't hate it. It's just it's going to be tough for them to match up with some of these good teams, and the AFC is. I guess the AFC is wide open. There's a lot of teams that are just kind of all mashed together below Kansas City.
And
honestly, I like everybody. Like Pittsburgh's there, Cleveland's there, Baltimore's there, Tennessee, not Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Buffalo.
Definitely not Jacksonville.
Not Jacksonville. Oh, they were looking good. Big Ben's MVP. Greedo shot first. That's a good call. That's unfortunate.
There was your makeup call, a 10-yard holding penalty. That was pretty phantom. I don't know if that's the makeup call or not, but that missed pass by Lamar Jackson was real bad. Boykin got massive separation. All right, so the other reason
maybe something we missed. Yeah, the Steelers were kind of dead yesterday in the second half. But to be fair, a lot of these guys for the Ravens didn't play.
That's true. That's a good point. Hey,
and honestly, if Dallas scores, it's good for our team total.
Yeah. In addition to 18-1 being a fair number because of all the points you raised, which is to say that there is a clear second tier in the AFC that I think is all equal, and Baltimore's in the mix. I guess the plan all along for betting the AFC, going back to August, was hold off on the Ravens. They're going to struggle early. But their last 5 games of the season are all eminently winnable. They can round themselves into form. They can do a Chiefs 2019 impression where they get better as they go down the home stretch, and then they're the team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs. That was kind of the thesis heading into this season.
But still just right. It is. I think the thesis is a little different this year with just the 1 seed.
Sure.
Being, it does change things completely, I think, with just the fact that if you don't get that, you're playing 3 games, and some of these teams, 3 road games. It's so tricky. Like taking away the 2 seed, because there were teams that were able to, just hammer away at the end of the season, win 4 or 5 in a row, take that 2 seed, and then all of a sudden you got a bye, a home game. All of a sudden you're in the AFC title game. And, it hasn't worked out for those teams. It's usually still the cream that's still making it to the Super Bowl, but having an 18-1 ticket there would be good.
Okay, so that was the plan, though, right? And it played out and oh, by the way, we advocated strongly, take Chiefs now, because that's going one way. And it has gone one way. And in fact, at this point, I think there's not value to bet the Chiefs. Would you agree? Even though they're the clear best team in the NFL and it's with a bullet, right?
No, and they were kind of the opposite. They were the opposite, where it's you bet them at the beginning of the season. We took a little of that. We took
shorter and shorter.
Well, not only that, but what was the best price you got on Mahomes MVP? Like 4.5 to 1,
plus 450. Yes.
Yeah.
So the thesis then was wait on Baltimore, buy low. And we circled it, I even think, after they play Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving night. That's going to be a tough game. They don't win that game. That's your buy low spot, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't do it and they end up going and winning the AFC, how stupid would I feel?
Well,
Given that was the plan.
I hate that. I hate that it has to be a FOMO bet, but 18 to 1's a good price.
Okay,
that's not terrible. I don't hate it.
Okay. Let's see if I'm going to laugh when they lose to these Cowboys and they don't even make the playoffs. But it's the Cowboys are playing up tonight. I guess we should have given them more credit. They're trying hard. They're working hard.
Yeah, Andy Dalton. I think maybe we got skewed with that Andy Dalton first game out, where it's like, oh shit, this sucks. We're throwing him in there with the bad offensive line, and not working with the ones much. It was always meant to fail, I guess. But he is a decent. He's a decent back. He's one of the better backups in the league, and he can play well
when you give him time. The mastery that is going on tonight is that the Cowboys offensive line, in the absence of Zach Martin, in the absence of Cam Irving, is providing him with lots of time. He's real. I have not really seen him under duress. When he has been under duress, it's been like designed rollout. I don't know what he's doing right now, but that was pretty silly. He ended up making a completion, but that was all kinds of jittery. But still, Ravens can't get home. They have him under duress there. They cannot get home. Didn't even touch him. The adjustments that the Ravens made at halftime defensively appear not to be especially impactful. 3rd and 3. This is a big third down. Yeah, the clock's not ticking off especially fast, which is good for a second half over.
Nice. 4th and 1. What are we doing? What are we doing there, boys? It's Dallas.
It's good. It's like inches, so they're going to go for it.
This is true. Every Randy I know is a butcher, and butchers are good because they bring you meat.
Randy's over Andy's. Wow, that's a hot take.
I know Calhoun's a hot take artist, though.
Okay, that's fair. I guess they're going to measure this. They're not. He didn't get it.
Oh, they give the old Andy Dalton HEFO. Good job.
Did he get it?
Yeah, I think so. My scorebug says so. I don't even have a stream up right now. I'm not watching. I don't want to watch this game.
Yeah, I'm a little behind. Let's see. 9 was a Christmas gift. Huh? Ravens are garbage. Yeah, they're not that bad.
That's another Dallas Cowboys first down. Here's a question. Here's 2 questions.
What is your opinion?
What was did he tear a ligament?
Broken
leg. Did he tear any ligaments in the ankle, though?
I'm sure.
I mean, it was a mess. It was like a junkyard down there. Everything was all over the place.
Broken ankle, torn ligaments.
I think he can make it back. I have no idea if it'll be a Cowboy thing. That's a complicated contract situation, and I'm terrible at that sort of stuff. Although Jerry's an odd duck, and he does odd things. Compound fracture, meaning bone out.
Yes.
Remember that? Was it the Louisville player?
My guess is that he is going to be a Cowboy. I don't think they let him go. It would be pretty like hysterically bad if they did let him go. It's hard to find a clear and obvious top 10 quarterback, and he is. I don't think. Still, the Ravens cannot get home. I don't think you take your chances with trying to recycle a guy or bringing a guy in who you don't know that can be
Kevin Ware. There you go.
You don't know if he can be as good under your system. Honestly, the 2 biggest problems with the Cowboys are not Dak Prescott and the contract situation. You sign him, give him money, give him the money, sign him. That's easy. The hard questions are how do you populate?
And you paid Elliott. Like, is there money?
There's always money in the banana stand. Always.
That's fair.
The salary cap is a figment of imagination for some owners who want to be cheap to not have to pay guys. There are always
You can
workarounds.
always move things around.
Always. They can pay Dak whatever he wants.
This was such a bad move.
That was really bad. That was terrible.
It might be worse. It's worse than paying Zeke. Yeah,
here are the two biggest problems for the Cowboys then. How do you get your team populated with defensive talent when that's not readily available and you don't have tons of draft capital? And what do you do about your coaching situation? Because not only does missed field goal, jeez, wow. What do you do about your defensive talent, and what do you do about your head coach? Because Mike McCarthy bringing in, number one, he obviously he wasn't exactly forthright about his vision when you hired him, and number two, you bring in a guy like Mike Nolan as his defensive coordinator. It's an indication of bad judgment, not head coaching. It doesn't have the goods to be a CEO of a team, right? We gave Anthony Lynn a hell of a time for his bad end of game management against Buffalo, right? That was egregious at the end of that Buffalo game, but it really wasn't going to win or lose them the game. They lost that game anyway. And he's been bad at clock management for a long time, so we really shouldn't expect much more of him. A bigger issue with Anthony Lynn is he has let the special teams for the Chargers ferment to the point where they're the worst special teams unit of all time.
It does get lost a little when you can. I mean, I think a lot of people treat special teams as, like fumbles, like, oh, it's just bad luck, or it's variance. And at a certain point, yeah. I mean, just maybe a couple things going wrong for you on special teams here or there can be a little bit of variance, but legitimately they are a poorly coached special teams unit, and it's
a direct reflection of the head coach, because
yes,
if you're letting that unit be so bad that they completely take you out of a game, no chance to win, because you give up a punt. They amazingly gave up a punt return touchdown and a blocked kick touchdown in the same game. Has that ever happened before?
This is the best.
Ever happened?
Coach of the Year runner-up in 2018, and then following up with
Matt Nagy. Yeah, unbelievable.
We were so young. We were so young and naive back then.
Coach of the Year is awarded not to good coaches, but to a coach who overachieves with the team he's got.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of a goofy award, and
that's why this year's Coach of the Year is a tough handicap.
Yeah, remember when
remember? Oh my God, I remember that. Yes, yeah. They're so spectacularly bad on special teams, and that's a direct reflection of the head coach, because he's the CEO of the franchise, of the product on the field, and he hired the special teams coach. He's giving that guy guidance. He's letting him off the hook in terms of fixing his shit. It's awful. It's awful to watch. Shit. And it's such an intangible. You can't really handicap it well. Like, it's one of those, special teams matters 1 or 2% to the win total in general.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like that's the thing. It's one of those things you got to keep in check. The same as
somebody just got hurt. Let me see who this is.
Some of the little decisions that get made, the fourth down decisions, the coin flip stuff, the aggressiveness things, like those are not the things that win you games. They're the things that lose you games over the series of doing it wrong over and over and over again. And the same thing goes with just having a bad special teams, and Chargers case, having a bad team doctor probably. I guess. Yeah. I mean, we got to see the rookie sooner, but Jesus.
I mean, it's a bad organization from top to bottom. Like, we know this. Like, there are good organizations and bad. Yeah.
Ricard, is that a fullback?
Oh, I didn't even know they changed the special teams coach 2 weeks ago. See, I figured it was the same guy, just continuing to fuck up week in, week out. If it's a different guy. Okay.
Do we still like our team total with the fullback injured?
Less so, but they got good field position here. They should get a touchdown on this drive.
Yeah, they're at the 45 already.
Yeah, I guess who all? This is fair. I saw a call for Bieniemy. I agree. Bieniemy ought to be in the very top of the list. Robert Saleh as a potential head coach makes perfect sense. There's not a lot of good candidates.
He got shit on yesterday, but it's one game.
Yeah, and you're going up against the magic of Josh Allen. It's tough.
He was very accurate, and I mean,
solid to Detroit does make a ton of sense. Yeah, because he's a Detroit guy. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Like, who else besides Bieniemy is like a top candidate for you? Because we've talked about in the past. Ideally, you want an offensive minded guy, who's going to bring, some youth and enthusiasm to your offense, because the defensive-minded coaches tend to not have the vision to run a plus CV offense for the year 2020 and beyond.
I mean, what about Art Smith?
Who else is there? Don't you think he's taken a little bit of a step back this year?
It's a little early for that.
As good as that offense has been, don't you think he's taken a little step back this year in terms of how often he's running Derrick Henry on early downs?
Yeah, that's fair.
He's got it in his head that he's got it in his head we need to beat these guys up, and we need to get physical with them and wear them down. And lots of tackles, lots of touches, and then in the second half we'll have an advantage. I feel like that's his mindset, and I don't love that.
So I know a lot of these.
Yeah, Joe Brady's a good candidate. Great call. Just since he makes a ton of sense. Although since he's not going to be available because what's his name is the cheapest owner in all of sports, or the cheapest owner, at least in the NFL. And he probably is going to want to pay Zach Taylor $300,000 or whatever he's paying him to coach one more season. Anyway, go ahead.
And a lot of people will kind of poo-poo the, he doesn't call plays, but I have no idea who the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. Sometimes they just get these guys. Like, who's the Green Bay offensive coordinator? I cannot think of it right now. Hackett was a name that was tossed around a little. Carmichael down in New Orleans. Again, he doesn't call plays.
Beautiful first down run by Lamar Jackson. Don't even bother throwing it, guys.
Sorry, he's Sean Payton adjacent. Some of these guys that don't per se call the plays, but they're involved in the offensive game plan.
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I don't understand why, like Carmichael, Hackett. I'm trying to think of who's the Jesus, I almost looked it up in this window. That would have just killed my stream. Rams offensive coordinator.
They've already picked through the bones of the Rams organization.
Kevin O'Connell, that's not sexy.
No,
I don't think people talk about Carmichael a lot. He's been there.
They've tried hiring, Sean McVay's Gardner, and it's not working out. So I don't know that you go back to that well.
This is where it starts. This is the call to get Pete Carmichael Jr. a head coaching job.
Has he been the OC in Saints for 8 years? Oh 11. My God, 11 years!
And before that, he was the quarterbacks coach, the quarterbacks and passing game coach. He's been with the organization since 2006. So he's been
what kind of voodoo is Sean Payton up to that he never gets in the conversation ever? I've never heard him even discussed.
I didn't know his name until I looked it up. I feel like maybe I've heard it before.
11 years, and he's never discussed. They adapt their offense on the fly year in, year out to make up for Drew Brees' limitations in the deep passing game. They do a great job.
And he went through Louisiana Tech, the Browns, and the Redskins, the Chargers to get here. So he was with the Chargers. Did he just come? So he was with the Chargers and then got moved to the Saints in 2006. Was he just part of the Brees trade or signing?
That's a fair question. I'm not sure.
When did Drew Brees sign with the Saints? It seems like it was around then.
It's the lady 2 blocks north of Bourbon. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, she put the voodoo on so that all GMs across the league don't realize.
Holy shit. He came over with Drew Brees. Drew Brees
did?
came over in 06, and so did Pete Carmichael. He
Holy
legitimately he's just Drew Brees' friend or something, right? That's weird. That's kind of weird, right? That they came over at the same time. I don't know. Was it part of the deal?
That's wild, man.
I feel old.
You know who?
I remember my Gophers playing against Breeze back at Purdue.
I don't know if you saw this news. I didn't share it with you, but I got a kick out of it. Did you hear who was recycled for the Jets?
Something bad.
Bill Cowher of
Oof.
CBS Hall of Fame coaching.
That's a throwback.
Have we not seen the retreads not work enough times that they were still going to do this? Jim Harbaugh to Detroit. Does Jim Harbaugh know how to coach well? Here's a bad recruiter. Is that why Michigan sucks?
You want a fun one here? I forgot about this. I'm looking up the Breeze. So Breeze was a free agent, and Miami was going to pay him, and then did not because of his shoulder injury. Ended up trading for Dante Culpepper instead.
God damn. Lamar Jackson in open space is my favorite player to watch.
Whoopsie daisy. I was just complaining about this last week. I said we don't see these Lamar Jackson runs anymore that we used to have these every single
week. They took them out of the playbook, man. They're saving them for December. I felt that way all season.
You should everybody go on the Pete Carmichael Jr. Wikipedia page and look at the picture. It's like blurry. it's blurry. It's from a real person. That's what I'm saying. There's like a football in front of him. Like, I don't think this is a real person. Actually, you know what we're doing here.
I'm going to share the screen.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
That looks like Sean. That's just Sean Payton. Dude, that was a dime.
Stop sharing.
That was a dime. He caught it. Marquise
Brown.
Finally.
There we go. Finally, Marquise Brown does something.
Finally. Thank you.
Oh, my God. This is the longest overtime in history. We're going to do it until they scored. If they didn't score, we'd just go all night.
He did catch. They didn't show the follow through. I got to see it. Hang on. I'm going to be really fucking mad if he let the ball move after it hit the ground. They're not showing the replay. I think it's bad. Show the angle. You have the clip. You just showed it. It's kind of weird that they didn't show the follow through. The ball point.
I have
the ball hit the ground.
Says they kicked the extra point, so I'm not.
Yeah, they're gonna maintain that one. All right.
All right. I'm going home.
All right, man. Enjoy.
Generic football coach .jpeg. I like that.
Enjoy generic football coach.jpg. Who tweeted that one? Devs. Good on you, man. Generic football coach.jpg. Pete Carmichael in the flesh. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Great job. One more touchdown and some garbage points from Baltimore, and we can all enjoy our night. And we'll very much looking forward to Thursday Night Football. And by the way, if you've hung out this long and you've enjoyed this banter, tune in tomorrow night for more focused banter on the YouTube channel.
Live YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube.
Yeah.
Live.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch us break down the entire card live. A lot of plays.
Catch parts of it. Watch it, and if you don't catch it live, it's still there on the YouTube channel. You can catch it later. On the YouTube channel. You can pop in, but you should subscribe.
Network in the comments. Yeah,
because it's way better. So what time?
5
7
o'clock
Central,
Pacific.
5 o'clock Pacific, 8 Eastern.
You got it, man.
Months.
I'll see you then.
See you then.